What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video here on Review and Preview Sports, folks. Happy Friday. The NBA season is now in a stance where the trade deadline has passed, and we're in that player buyout stage now. And one team that's really impressed this year is the Chicago Bulls, and I really want to talk about them because they're number one in the East right now, something a lot of people probably didn't expect, even with the addition of DeMar Derozan this offseason to join Zach LaVine and Nikola Vukovic. But before I dive more into that, please make sure to subscribe to us below on all of our social media platforms on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at Review and Preview Sports. If you like what you watch, you got to make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. But today's topic is, should DeMar Derozan be valued as an MVP candidate? And I want to dive into this because the guy's been on a tear as of late. And we're looking at the game last night against the Atlanta Hawks. Now, granted, the Hawks have had somewhat of a down year so far after making the Eastern Conference Finals last year, but DeMar Derozan has been insane. The dude had 37 points last night, and it's not a 37 points where he took like 40 shots, was like 15 of 36 from the field. No, DeMar Derozan was 15 of 21 from the field and scored 37 points to help the Chicago Bulls defeat the Atlanta Hawks. And that was a close game, too. He hit the go-ahead jumper for the top-seeded Bulls and also had great defense on Trae Young throughout most of the night. So he really helped out his team in that department as well. And the Bulls are now on a 6-game winning streak, sitting at 39-21. And this is the best record the Bulls have had in quite some time. The Chicago Bulls haven't been in the postseason too much over the past decade, ever since the Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah days. But this guy in DeMar Derozan has had a little mini career resurrection after being traded from the Toronto Raptors to the San Antonio Spurs, then went to see his old team win an NBA championship, which really must have hurt him as a player mentally. But he's been on a tear. 7 straight games of 35-plus points, and you really have to give him a lot of credit because he's been carrying a lot of the load for the Chicago team, a backcourt that's missing Alex Caruso right now, who suffered that bad injury when he was hacked by Grayson Allen in that game against the Milwaukee Bucks. But, to have complementary pieces on that team like Zach LaVine, who can get you 20 to 30 points a game, Nikola Vukovic, who is a double-double monster. Zach LaVine's a homegrown product, but DeRozan and Vukovic are, a couple of misfits who spent a majority of their career on not so great teams, more Vukovic than DeRozan, because DeRozan was consistently in the playoffs. It just seemed the Raptors could never really get over that hump when he was there. And I think you got to give credit to a certain amount of people for DeRozan's resurgence, and it starts with himself. I think the fact that he's averaged over 28 points per game this year, and he's been in the NBA for a very long time. He's averaging over 5 rebounds and 5 assists. So, he's never been a selfish player, which is something I like about him a lot. There are a lot of young players on the Chicago Bulls team. I mean, you have Kobe White, you have Patrick Williams. You have a lot of young players, and sometimes it can get lost in the midst of what the team is trying to accomplish. But I really like where this team is at right now, and his field goal percentage is insane. He shoots a very high percentage from the field, pretty good behind the three-point line. He's never really been known as a three-point shooter, but he's also an 86% foul shooter, which is very interesting because DeMar Derozan has always been a good mid-range game. That's who he is, right? And I think Billy Donovan has done a tremendous job since taking over. This was a team that was consistently finishing below 500 for the past decade or so, and now since Donovan took over, he's 62-59, leading this Bulls team since the 2020 season. And, you really have to look at what DeRozan has done to elevate his game to MVP status. Now, it won't help his stock that Giannis is having another career year for Milwaukee. Joel Embiid is starting to really show a lot more effort, and he's elevated himself to that MVP caliber type of player. And then, of course, Nikola Jokic, last year's MVP, is always going to be in that conversation. But I mean, I'm looking at his last 4 games specifically, 38, 40, 38, and 37 points. He scored at least 37 points in his last 4 games. And the plus-minus differential when DeMar Derozan is on the floor is absolutely insane. It's really hard not to like this guy. Now, granted, the Bulls have been taking advantage of their somewhat lackluster schedule over these last 6 games. They've played the Atlanta Hawks, the Sacramento Kings, the Spurs, the Thunder, the Timberwolves, and the Hornets. But they've also, they've had decent performances against teams like Philly and Phoenix. I know that they lost both those games, but they only lost to Phoenix by 3 points. I think with Philadelphia now getting James Harden, it's going to be tough. But if DeRozan continues to play at this level, it's hard to at least not consider him for MVP. I don't see any player in the NBA right now that is consistently scoring 35 plus points per game. DeRozan has not scored less than 35 points since February 4th. It is February 25th, ladies and gentlemen. So, what do you folks think? Do you think DeMar DeRozan should be considered for NBA MVP? Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Would really appreciate it if you agree or disagree that DeRozan should be in that MVP discussion. Remember to follow us on all of our social media platforms below on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and most importantly, our YouTube channel at Review and Preview Sports. Hope to see you all at our next video. Thank you all very much and have an awesome day.